Yo, hello, welcome. As always, good morning. Well, this is the first time we're doing a good morning, but good morning. If this is your first time, welcome. If this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, and however many videos we've posted thus far, welcome back. This is Bombs. I am Ross. I'm extremely excited to share with you. If you read the title, I know you're looking like, what is he or they talking about? First and foremost, what is the name of that brand? I don't even know what I'm watching. Let me break it down. But first and foremost, you pronounce it Bombs. Welcome to BE, Bombs Experience. And what we would like to do over here at Bombs, we would love to share things that might help you further whatever goals, desires, visions that you might have by enhancing the way you view things. A new mindset. It's creating a new mindset. It's the birth of something. This is the genesis of a different way of thinking that might get you a greater outcome. So, with that being said, I like to sometimes provoke different thoughts, different things to help you look at certain things. We all have habits, whether they be good or bad. We all have them. However, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Even if it's a bad habit right at this particular time and moment, it might be bad now. We all know what we might be struggling with. However, whatever that bad habit is, it's not permanent. It's temporary. For example, I had a habit of drinking. Okay. I realized that, this is a habit that is costly, not only financially, but it just doesn't feel, it's not the same. It's not like, the hangovers were just became, and it wasn't really hangovers. It wasn't like, I have to throw up, I have to vomit because I drank too much. It wasn't like that. It was just such a lagging feel. It wasn't a headache. It was just simply my body was rejecting alcohol, which all of our bodies do, because it's a foreign object, a foreign substance that it's just terrible. It's bad for you. I can go, the list is long just because we won't even get into that. However, it was a habit that I would indulge in, knowing it benefited me in no way, form, or fashion. It would give me this false illusion, this euphoria of having a good time or more social. No, I don't need those things to be social. So it was a bad habit, right? However, it was a habit. And when you peel back the fabrications, the layers, and all these different things, you can take that same energy or that same personality, that same charisma that the alcohol you thought you only could tap into under the influence, being inebriated under alcohol. It's like, no, I'm this person regardless. So therefore, I can remove the alcohol, which was the bad habit, and I can bring forth this good, all the good that I thought that liquid courage would bring forth. So here we are today. I'm a part of something monumental, which is Bombs, BE. So that's what I mean by how a bad habit is better than no habit. Sure, I could have came to this conclusion without having the habit of drinking alcohol, but however, it's like credit. Bad credit is better than no credit at all. At least they're saying, okay, you have a history of borrowing. You're not that good at paying back, but you've borrowed. So we'll allow you to borrow this money, but at a higher interest rate. Makes sense? Opposed to a person that has no credit. We're not going to let you borrow anything because you don't have a history of paying anyone back. So yeah, sure, you could say, hey, I paid my grandma back on time, my mom on time, my brother, my siblings. I pay everyone back on time. However, there isn't a track record of that. So therefore, you have to have some type of personal track record to know. And that's where self reflection comes in to say, hey, I have a habit with this, but if I take that same energy and transmit it elsewhere, I could really thrive or be successful in a different area, or in a greater area, a better area, a more productive area, opposed to a self-destructive area, so to speak. So it's important that if you have a habit that you would like to get rid of, that's great. Get rid of that habit, but take the same tenacity, that same fire, and put it towards something positive. If you take a drug addict, for example, we've seen them, unfortunately, because it's been an epidemic since forever. If you take a drug addict for it in any way, form, or fashion, if you take an individual that currently, that just for example, a person that's struggling with drug addiction, they have a habit that some would love to kick, but they struggle with it. They don't have the support system around them, and some just say they're so invested, they enjoy what it takes to experience it. I'm going somewhere with this. A lot of them, a few will tell you that it's not even about the high anymore. It's more so about what leads up to it, the intimacy, that how am I going to figure out how to get the next fix? What am I willing to do? How far, what levels, how am I going to raise this money to get the next fix, right? Imagine if that person with that type of tenacity, consistency, focus, devotion to get this self-destructive thing, imagine if they took that and put it towards something constructive. That would be the most focused, successful person that we've probably seen or experienced in our time, because they want this thing so bad that they're willing to do anything for it. And I'm not saying do anything for it and whatever and go against morale. Stay within the spectrum of morale, but take that type of tenacity, that type of devotion, that type of focus, that type of effort to fulfill a goal, a worthy goal. That person would be unstoppable. And that's what I mean by how a bad habit, that having that bad habit, it's always good not to have a bad habit, but how you can't write off a person that is struggling with a bad habit, because if they could just redirect their focus, if they could just shift their perspective or shift that drive elsewhere that was once on a bad habit, they would be unstoppable. So if you know individuals that might be struggling with things, try in your best efforts to be able to help them, not necessarily downplay them. This is probably how we should approach it. It's more so encouraging them to take that same wheel, but put it elsewhere. Put it elsewhere. And which is very difficult at times, because you have to redirect your focus. You have to literally detox yourself from that habit, whatever that habit might be. And you have to take that energy and put it into a new focus. And there's growing pains within that, because you're taking something that's new, that's comfortable. It's a habit, for crying out loud. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's a habit. A habit becomes a trait. A trait becomes a characteristic. A characteristic becomes, that's who you are. That's who people identify you as. And that's the unfortunate thing that I dislike about a person can have, they can try it. Back to just hypothetically example, they could try drugs. They can try it, and it does nothing to them. It's like, they just tried it. I can use myself for an example. I just tried to have a drink. I tried it, and I was like, didn't really do anything. But what happens is, you tried it before. You're not against trying it again. And this time you tried, but you tried a little bit more than you did the previous time, which creates a different type of feeling. You're like, oh, I didn't feel this way the first time. That's not bad. So you're like, don't think much about it. You wake up, you feel normal, you feel good. It came and it left because it was under control. Now, what happens is that you're in the same type of setting, but what you would like to do now, you would like for that particular feeling to last a little bit longer. So what do? You think that, oh, if I want it to last longer, I will do more of that particular thing in order to elongate this particular feeling that allowed me to have a better time in my mind, in my imagination. And that's what you do. And by doing so, other things come along with it, such as, I really had a really good time and I'll do that again more frequently. Or you wake up and you're like, man, I didn't feel like this the first 2 times. I might have overdid it. So now you are trying to figure out this balance, opposed to just stopping. Some stop. Some people say, well, you know what? I didn't feel this way the first 2 times. I did drink a little bit more than the second time. I definitely drank way more than the first time. Let me find a happy median. Let me find a balance. And that's usually how a habit starts. It's in between, but what's happening, you're increasing your tolerance the entire time. So you are flirting with balance, but also stretching out your tolerance. So it's a weird thing, especially with alcohol, or I could imagine, don't know any other drug. It's a flirtatious relationship with not overdoing it, but strengthening your gauge of widening your range of how high or how much can you do. It's very weird, but that's what creates habits. So you don't judge a person based off the habits that they might have. What we need to do is encourage them to take those habits and apply them elsewhere if they're willing. That's one thing. There's nothing more difficult to change than a made up mind if they're willing. And sometimes people have to, get tired of any type of situation, but it's not all about alcohol and drugs. I don't want to just say, because that's not what it's all about. It's about any habit, anything that you find yourself doing too much of, or it could be a habit of eating too much sugar, a habit of snacking too much throughout the day, a habit of complaining, a habit of not completing your work, a habit of procrastination, a habit of anything. And those, we all can agree that those are all bad habits. So let's say you eat too much sugar. Let's take that same habit of eating too much sugar and get down to the root of why do you crave that much sugar? Why do you have such a habit of snacking frequently throughout the day, spiking your glucose, igniting that pancreas? Why do you have such a habit of doing that? And then when you dig a little deeper, you can figure out why, and then you can put that energy elsewhere. Then you can start doing things such as intermittent fasting that will help you. Or you can figure out, am I nervous or am I anxious? Then that's where a notebook can come into play, which we talked about in the previous episode, how it can be monumental in your success, not only physically, mentally, emotionally, but as well as financially. So there's various things and various ways that a habit, or there's so many habits, how even a bad habit can be better than no habit. It's all about perspective. It's all about shifting your focus. It's all about being honest with yourself and transparent with yourself and saying, this is a habit. And it's not, quite frankly, it's not the best habit to have. So I need to overcome this habit. Smoking tobacco, smoking period. But smoking tobacco, you would see this, the old saying, or the old identification or old identifying term for a smoker that smoked a lot would be a chain smoker. And there's different ways to look at it, but you would find people that just frequently smoked. And I asked, why do you still, most of the time they don't even realize they're doing it. It's a way to pass time. It's not even a feeling anymore. They don't even get a buzz from that they originally got from the tobacco. It's more so just it's routine. That's what it has become. It's become such a routine. So imagine if you had a habit, you have a habit of smoking tobacco, and you do it so often, so frequently, so much that it's routine. Imagine if you wrote as much as you smoked. It was as routine. You were as punctual with writing as you are with smoking. So it's not about saying, hey, dude, you are a bad person because of that bad habit. It's more so shifting the focus, changing where they put their focus. Take that same energy, that same consistency as a chain smoker, that same devotion, that same, man, they invest so much. I didn't realize when you're going to pay for gas or buying something from the convenience store, how you see those prices and people saying they're smoking packs of those a day. Man, that's an expensive habit. So imagine if you took that expensive habit, if you're willing to spend $20 on tobacco daily, which is 7 days a week. Wow, man. That's $140. That's a monthly bill now. You're spending nearly $500 a month on. Imagine if you took that and put that towards day trading, investing. So if you're willing to do such a thing so consistently and you're so devoted to prioritizing this, take that habit and put it towards investing. Take that habit and put it towards health and wellness. Take that same devotion, that same financial, I don't know, you're just throwing away money because there is no pro to smoking at all. There is not a pro at all, but you're taking money, taking time, taking consistency, taking your own health and wellness, and you're sacrificing these things. And if you just sacrifice that one thing, but keep all of those habits or all of those things that you got from smoking and apply it elsewhere, and your finances will increase, your health will increase, your mind will increase, your everything would change. So I just wanted to kind of break that down in a way. And I might have hit home on certain things as far as smoking or drinking. And I always love to use myself as an example that you're not your habit. You're not a bad person. However, it's important that we look out for one another and say, hey, brother, sister, that's what we are in this human race. We are all brothers and sisters, and we need to look out for each other. The people that created the tobacco to roll up and smoke, it was a monetary thing. It wasn't about anything other than money. Same for alcohol. And we've associated this with having a good time, which in actuality, if you go to these AA meetings, it's not a good time. When you go to these dialysis appointments with people that kidneys aren't functioning properly, it's not a good time. When you understanding that you have liver disease, liver cirrhosis, and your body isn't operating properly, and you have to drink protein shakes for the rest of your life, unless you're fortunate enough to get a transplant or you pass because of liver cirrhosis and because your body is not filtering and detox, it's not a good time. But the people that sell it to you say it is. So that's what Bombs is about. It's about encouraging one another to, you're not a bad person because of that habit. Let's just shift the focus of that habit and the perspective. Well, as always, I really did appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, this was as edifying as it was sharing it to you from Bombs. As always, we've enjoyed it. I'm Ross. I look forward to seeing and hearing from you in the comments on the next one. Have a great day.